forgive me. How do you pronounce it? Just pronounce it for me. How do you
You can
pronounce
call
your
me
name?
Anne, and my name is Nidhi, but you can call me Anne.
Midhi. What country are you from, please?
I'm from India. I'm actually basically living in Lagos right now.
Ah, you're in Lagos right now. Oh, okay. Good to have you. Right. So let's all right, we're already at 5 p.m. So Adenike, please do the honors to admit people to the room. And while we're at that, we'll take the first 5 minutes as ritual. We'll take the first 5 minutes to introduce ourselves, where we're joining from. At least I know Han is joining from Lagos. So but we'll take that 5 minutes to just introduce ourselves, where we're joining from. And basically your expectations at the end of the class or at the end of the session. It promises to be a very short session. Which by 6:30 at the maximum, we should round up, and we should round up basically latest by 6:30. So please, let's keep the introduction coming in the chat room. I'm Oluwatayo. I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. I know a few people on this call are also joining from Nigeria. So let's just keep it going. I'm going to start off in the chat room that I am Oluwatayo, but you can call me Tayo or Twinkles. And I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. So let's keep it coming, or let's keep it going. I think I opened the floor already. So I'll be happy to see our chats in the room. Hi, Samson. Good evening. So Samson is joining from Lagos. So Samson, what industry are you in? If I may ask, if that's okay. What industry are you in currently? Who? Healthcare. Okay, it's only Samson that I have in the room. Fola Shade, Jalil. While I know you in person, but notwithstanding. All right, thank you, Jalil. Who else do I have in the room? Juliet. Juliet. I'm also familiar with that name. And hi, Juliet. Hi, Oluwaseun. Welcome to class. Usually, I would say welcome to this webinar, but welcome to class in more appropriate. So I'm just going to say welcome to class. Right. So let's keep it coming. Juliet, where are you joining us from? If I'm correct, would that be South Africa? Well, let me still hear from you. So Juliet, please let me know where you're joining. Let me know where you're joining us from this evening. Yes, South Africa. I guessed correctly. All right. Good to have you on the call, Juliet. Emmanuel from Lagos is currently teaching. Right, good to have you here, Emmanuel. And so I think I've literally heard from everybody in the room except for Folashade though. And because the class is already being recorded, I'm going to use that leverage and just get into it. Whosoever joins us at a later time, they're going to be catching up from the recording. And from the recording that we would basically host on YouTube. So if you're a repeat, for lack of a better word, if you're a repeat customer, or if this isn't your first time at Techlytics, you know that we're a technology workforce development and consulting company. What that means is we are able to equip professionals with in-demand tech skills, and we also do consulting for startups and enterprises at large. Also, one thing that stands out how we have four pillars or four things that really gets us going, or that we really put as our focal areas, and that would be data and data analytics. That would be artificial intelligence, no code or low code, and that the fourth pillar would be product management. So, in essence, those are the four things that stands us how, or that we really stand for in the industry. So while I'm at it, I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'll pull up my presentation slides, and we'll quickly get into it. Please let me know once you can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, sir. All right, ma'am. All right, so let's just quickly delve into it. And by the way, I'm sharing my entire screen, and I usually also like to say this jokingly and but seriously. that whatsoever it is that you see that may be incriminating, trust me, you won't see anything incriminating. However, just, probably just close your eyes to it and keep it moving. So, yeah, welcome again to this masterclass. And my name is Oluwatayo. For people who have probably known me in person or who came earlier. So this is a brief introduction about Techlytics. So if you are not joining for the first time, apologies, you're going to be hearing this almost every time you join. But if you're joining for the first time, I'm going to elaborate more on what Techlytics is and what we do. Right, it's a technology workforce development and consulting company, and we empower ambitious professionals like you. And we also empower businesses with essential skills needed to thrive in the ever-evolving world of technology. Right. In the last 3 years, we have been able to empower or mentor other professionals like you in the space of data analytics, particularly via our YouTube tutorials, via teaching in other edtech schools, or via our curated on-demand video content on our website or on other LMS platforms. Right. So basically, that's what Techlytics is about, and this is a problem we're solving. We can see that we have a constantly evolving technological landscape, and it is very important that we also keep up to date with what's going on. So what Techlytics does is to bridge that gap. That is, how do we constantly make people evolve and be ready for this particular future that we're entering into or that we're already in. Right. So that's what Techlytics does. My name is Oluwatayo again, and have had experiences spanning across the banking industry, the fintech or digital payment space, and restaurant technology. I also have been a teacher since forever. By teacher, I mean I've been teaching since I was a little girl. So I kind of find joy, and it pleases me to teach. So that is who I am, and I have the best team in the world working here at Techlytics. There's somebody else missing on this in this slide, but please forgive it. So that's Jedida. Jedida is our product manager. Mary is a graphics designer. And Adenike, who's also with me on this call, is a data analyst. The person missing, her name is also Abiodun Olani, and she is also a product manager on the Techlytics team. If you're not joining me for the first time, you would always hear me say things like, "Oh, we didn't intentionally make it to be a ladies team, but it just happened." So with time, we will have men, help us with that bit of things. So this masterclass series will be running throughout till January 2024 and beyond, basically. However, sometimes in January 14 to be specific, we will be having another data school opening, another data school cohort. We just closed one cohort in October, that is September through October, and the cohort graduated. And we'll be having another cohort in January. This cohort will be dealing with business intelligence. You could be a BI analyst or a data analyst. Basically, you'll be gaining skills with using Microsoft Excel and Power BI. So this particular session or this particular free masterclass is a part of those series, and it will be happening on a weekly basis, whether on Microsoft Excel or Power BI. So please gear up for or look forward to weekly free masterclasses like this. Right, thank you very much. So the link to register is also on the screen, techlytics.ng /data school. Adenike will put all of those other details in the chat room. If you really want to check it out, check out the curriculum that we'll be offering come 2024. Right, so I'll quickly delve into what we want to do today, and it is called data modeling. In times past, whenever I heard the word data modeling, I stopped sharing my screen because I want to come back to the room and to feel people's pulse and understand how well or how unwell or how familiar we are with the word data modeling. Or maybe let's not even have the data. Let me hear from you. This is supposed to be an interactive class, so let me hear from you. What do you understand by the word modeling or modeling? I'm still Nigerian. I may not pronounce that well, but what do you understand by the word modeling? Have you heard anything like modeling before? Anybody wants to try? Just say it in layman terms. That would be fine also. The word modeling. Anybody in the house or anybody in class? Has anybody heard the word modeling before? Yes, Oluwaseun, go for it. Oluwaseun, I saw you raise your hand and you can go for it.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, fine. So let me just say this. Data modeling basically creating relationship, right? Especially in Power BI, relationship in between tables, so you
Okay.
can actually get the best out of the data.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Oluwaseun. So data modeling itself, is it limited to Power BI? I'm just curious. I'd like to know. Is it limited to um you're muted. You muted yourself already.
Excel and Power BI.
Okay.
Excel and
Is
Power
it
BI.
limited to Excel
Also,
and Power BI alone?
I don't know how SQL works, but I'm familiar with Excel and Power BI.
Okay.
So,
All right, cool. So what does it what so again, let's assume I'm a 10-year-old. How are you going to explain modeling to me? Do you want to try? Shim, do you want to try that?
yeah, I'm listening.
Sorry? I cannot hear Shim anymore. But is anybody wants does anybody want to try to tell us what data modeling is? Or no, let me take out the data in front. Does anybody want to tell us what modeling is? Whenever you hear modeling, what comes to mind? Anybody? I mean, we all hear model, car model, phone model. What comes to your mind? I mean, let's make it fun and interactive. What comes to your mind when you hear model or a runway model? So what comes to your mind when you hear model? Yes, Folasha, they go for it. Yes, first.
Good afternoon. To design something to
Okay,
make it
cool.
visually appealing.
To make it visually appealing. Nice, thank you. To make it make sense, right? Thank you. Because if today I bring out my phone, okay, my phone is not here, and I start bringing out the motherboard, the screen, and all of that, you'll be like, yo, what's this? It doesn't make sense. It's not useful to me. However, by the time I couple everything together and I say, oh, this is a Techno Phantom X, or this is a Samsung S23 Plus, then you would appreciate it better because it looks like a phone and it's properly modeled, put together, it's properly structured. Is that correct, Falashade?
Yes, it is.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for helping us. Yeah, for helping us with that explanation. Whose hand is also, or somebody else's hand was what Modino Fadari, if I remember, but the person has lowered their hand. So is that for me? Is that an indication that I should move it along? um, Creating relationships between items to prepare it for a task. Thank you, Samson. That makes a lot of sense. Just like the example of a phone that I just mentioned, that is, my phone has different components. It has the charging port, it has my I don't know if it has motherboard. I'm not a phone to repair, but it has different components. It has the earphone jack. It has all of that, and basically it has the battery compartment. Basically, you necessarily need to tell, oh, the battery needs to be connected to XYZ before this phone can make sense, or before it can even make sense as a phone. Right. Thank you so much for that definition, also, Samson. Right. So it's basically you bringing up many parts together and making them make sense, right? So um, bringing many parts together and making them make sense. The same way you have a car with multiple parts, and what makes it a model is, I mean, for example, if I say a Kia Rio EX 2014 and a Kia Rio EX 2016, they will have those are two different models, 2 different years. They have different components that separate them or that make them make sense. So basically, that is very similar to what we want to talk about today. That is data modeling. So are we good on that note now? I need some responses to say, well, good. I still need more explanation. Can you explain more? Okay. Right. I think I'm seeing a lot of hands, a lot of thumbs up, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. So we're good. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen again. I say attempt because, attempts. Right. So give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to quickly deal with some basic data, a basic data set from ShopRite, and we will see how we would make individual sense of it. All right. So let me know once you can see my screen again. It was nice and fun interacting with you all again outside of me sharing my screen. So let's quickly go back to our slide and find some theoretical definitions to data modeling. Can you all see my screen again? Can you all see my screen, please? I cannot, so
Yes.
I just need like a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. All right. So data modeling is a process used to define and organize the data structures in a system or a database. It basically means you're trying to make sense of it, put it together in an appealing way. Like I think that was for last day, right? It's basically you designing a system. It's like creating a blueprint for a building, but instead of designing physical structures, you're designing how data is stored, organized, and managed. So let's look at this simple breakdown of the concept. So you're basically trying to create a plan for the data. That is, you're drawing out the sketch or the blueprint of it. That's just like an architect would do for a building. So it's about deciding what data is needed and how it will be organized. Now, once you've decided what data will be needed and how it will be organized, then you need to organize that data. So you have to organize them into categories, right? That says it involves grouping similar types of data together. You put them in similar buckets. For example, in a school database, you might have different categories for students, teachers, and classes, right? Like we're in class right now, I may have a class called data starter class. That is, these people have never even heard anything about data before. They've never interacted with any tool to use on data before. I could say these are starter class. That is, these are my beginner class. I can say data intermediate. I can say data expert class, and I'll put different students into those categories. So that is me organizing my data into categories. Defining relationships. That is, it is very important to define how different categories of data relate to each other. That is, in our school example, it could involve linking students to the classes they take, or teachers to the classes they teach. And setting rules for data. Data modeling also involves setting rules for how data can be entered, such as what type of information can be stored in each category. For instance, a student's name might be required to be in text format, of course. A student's name will be in text format, their birth date or their date of enrollment or their expected graduation date will be in a date format. Let's say their tuition fee, it will be in currency format. And also, data modeling helps in predicting and analyzing. Once data is well organized, it becomes easier to analyze. So before we even go into modeling this evening, I'm going to give us a sample of a data that is not put in a model, and we'll attempt to analyze it, and we'll see how difficult it will be to make sense of that data. So this can help in making predictions or decisions based on data. Right, so this is a brief background into what data modeling is, and this is what we'll cover in this class or in this session. We could do a quick review of what pivot table is. So this session is a bit maybe intermediate to advanced. However, please follow along if this is your first time of hearing about data modeling, or if this is your first time of working with data. Just please follow along. The class is being recorded. We're going to send the recording, and we're going to post it on YouTube. Right. So we'll do a quick revision of pivot table, and I'll probably just do an analysis without putting them in data models. We'll do a quick recap of Power Query to combine and transform data. We'll use data from multiple sources, and we'll create and manage data models in Power Pivot. We'll create relationships between tables, and we'll create a pivot table report from our Power Pivot. Right, so this is what you're expecting. This is what you're expecting after this session. Right, so let's quickly go into that. So since I'm sharing my entire screen, so I'm just going to take the leisure of. So on my desktop, I already have saved something called ShopRite data. So let's quickly look through. Let's quickly look through what's inside ShopRite data. So we have data from ShopRite from 2020. Let's just look at that data set. So here, and again, I need to give us heads up. My Excel interface looks a bit. It looks like that because I customized it to be in a black theme. So if this is not consistent with what you have on your own Excel program, it's totally fine. I just changed my own theme. Right. So look at this data set, and what we have here is the date of transaction. Because it's a sales data or it's a grocery store data, so it's expected that transactions will occur on a daily basis, right? They have, each of the records have transaction ID. They have product number, that is the product that was sold, however, not the product name, but the product number, the account number. Now, account number in this sense basically refers to, if you're a student of accounting or a lover of accounting, you would understand that each of in stores you basically post transactions to different accounts or different ledgers. Please mute your mic. Nadine, help me there. Right. So account number, what account number basically means is each of these transactions are being posted into different ledgers or into different journals in their system, and that's what it means. And then you can see the amount. Right. So let's attempt to analyze this data, and we'll see that it doesn't make sense, except we now add more description to the data set itself. All right. I just wanted to be sure that I'm still being heard. All right, except we now had more data, or except we now had more description to the data set itself. So I'm just going to insert a quick pivot table, and I will show you how senseless this data can be. Usually, before you start working in Microsoft Excel, if you're a good student of data analytics, you should work in tables. But because it's just for the purpose of demonstrating something, I'll come to insert, and I'll insert a pivot table, and Excel has detected where my data set is, and I'll come in here. And so let's assume I want to know the top 5 selling products. At best, what I have that has to tell me something about product here is the product number. Because the product number in this case, they are not values that I want to sum up. I'm just going to put product number. So they are individual entities that I want to see their record. So I'm going to put it in rows, and you can see the unique product numbers in my data set. Now, I may want to also look at the amounts each of them were sold for. That is product IDs, the total amount. So I put it like that, and I see product that has the ID or product number 1000, and they've sold $129,400 of it. Now, between you and I, does this make sense, or does this inform me to take any meaningful decision? Let's talk about it. Does this make sense? If you're okay, let me come back to the room. Does this kind of analysis that I just showed us, does it make sense?
So currently we don't know what the number is about. So we would need more information.
You would need more information. I totally agree with you, Han, and thank you for that. Right. It doesn't make sense, in all fairness and in all honesty. It really doesn't make sense, because we do not know what is 1000. We do not know what is 2000. So you need more information. So now assume that your more information that you need about this product, because what would make sense for you to know is, maybe this 1700 or 17,000, maybe it meant dry goods or vegetables or children food. You probably don't know, but maybe that's what it meant. But you want to see, okay, so what are my top 5 products? You can't go to the board or to to executive management and saying product ID 1,000, we've sold 129,000, and you expect people to clap for you. No, you don't make sense. You've not solved their problem. So that is where data modeling comes in. That is one of the many ways where data modeling comes in. I beg your pardon. So imagine you now have a more descriptive data set for this, or that can help you corroborate your story when you're talking about this particular data set. So which means in another source, maybe a text file or another Excel file or a CSV file, you have a list of product number, these individual or these unique product numbers, and in front of it, they tell you what exactly they are. So let's say product number 1,000, it's electronics. Product number 1,300, it's grocery or it's children clothes, right? It makes more sense. Now, however, it's in another table somewhere else that is not in your current worksheet or workbook that you're even working on. So those are the places where data modeling would come in, where you necessarily need to, first of all, bring all of them together into one place and then create relationships between them. Now, that is for products. So let's look at accounts. So maybe you are the accountant and you want to check your entries for the entire year, or maybe you're the auditor and you're trying to probably, do the entire management account, maybe for a particular quarter or for a particular financial year, and you're trying to put things in place and everything is messy like this. So let's say I take our product number and I put in account number here. You can see that we're still in the same dilemma. That is, we know that $629,700 were posted in an account number or in a ledger or in a journal called 5,000. This money was also posted into 6,000, but you don't. Those are just IDs. Those are just identities. You don't know the exact things. So this is where data modeling can be helpful for you. It can also be helpful because we will be using a mix of Power Query inside this data set. Of course, when it comes to automating the task, because it will become boring for you at some point, because so we have a data set you want to analyze for the entire 5 years, and like 2023 is getting over. Let's say you have data set for 2021, 2022, and 2023. So which means maybe by January, you're expected to turn in your report for 2023, or by January 2024, you're supposed to turn in your report for January 2023. All you probably just need to do is to update the folder or wherever your data source is, and Excel picks it from there. You don't have to go all over again. So I'm going to close this file, and we're going to quickly do that. Okay. So this time around, I'm coming on a clean slate and I'm opening a new Excel workbook. And while that is opening, I'm just going to open this guy. All right. So what we want to do first of all is this is a blank workbook, right? So I want to use this blank workbook to connect to those individual data sets. Now, one thing I've not walked you through is inside this my ShopRite data. I have data for 2019 and 2020. I'll also have more descriptive data set for what's inside accounts, what are the different names those accounts are called. So let me quickly show you. So everywhere you see 5,000, 7,000, these are their names: stationery accounts, electronics accounts, office furniture, office decor, and so on. Now the same thing applies to the product numbers. So let me show you that also. And right. So in the product data too, you can see that each of all those individual product numbers, these are what they mean, right? So you can then imagine that each of these files, they exist in different places in your computer. And also we have an extra data for 2021 that we'll just, we'll put in that folder as we go along, and we'll see how it will update. Okay, so let's go and let's let me open Excel again, and let's start with, first of all, let's connect a blank sheet to where our data set is. So one way to do that is to come to your data tab. One way to do that is to come to your data tab, and in your data tab, you see in the get and transform data group, you see get data, and you can get from each of the sources, or you can use this drop down here to pick from more other sources. So in my case, I just want to pick it from a folder. If I had a JSON file, I could, pull from there. This skill is it cuts across all fields actually. So for example, you could be a developer and you probably most times developers barely analyze. Product managers or data analysts on the team would, but let's say I'm a product manager, so I can speak to this. So you probably have a product analytics that you probably want to do, and the dev has probably pulled out some JSON files for you, and you necessarily need to analyze your customer behavior. Well, however, it's just JSON file they gave you. So you could also connect to this, and sidebar. So I want to pick this data set from folder, and my folder is in desktop, and it's ShopRite data. And this folder I want to connect to is transaction data. Remember, there are 2 years data set inside my transaction data folder. So I'm going to just open, and Excel would connect to that folder on my local or my computer. Now, what that means is, how that helps also is that it reduces the processing time or the processing power or the computing power that I would have rather used to load those individual files and maybe copy and paste and have a bulky file. What happens now is Excel is just creating a connection, for lack of better word, just creating a virtual connection to your data set still on your local computer. So yes, Excel has basically told me that these are the guys, or these are the things I've found in your folder. What would you like to do to them? And I want to tell you that. So I have 3 things I could do. I could combine them straight up and go. I could load them to a data model, or load them to an Excel table, or I can transform it. If you were in our last classes where we talked about Power Query, we really talked about get and transform data and how you can transform data at length. However, I'm not going to really sit with that bit today. We're just going to look at the Power Query editor briefly and then go back to Excel. So I'll say I want to transform this data, and Power Query editor comes up. Power Query is also another helpful tool that is an extension or an add-in that helps your Microsoft Excel make more sense, or that helps you to do your work better with Excel. So what this means to transform basically is to tidy up or to clean your data set. So maybe a particular data type is incorrect. We're going to quickly look at it. You can quickly change it if you wanted to remove rows, add rows, remove columns. If you're familiar with using Power BI here on the call, you would be familiar with a process like this. So yes, so this is me and my data set here, and it has basically shown me what's inside. And because it has kind of detected that they have very consistent or similar column headers, because it's the same thing that is in 2019, or it's the same column headers rather, or the attributes that is in 2019 that is also in 2020. So I'm going to tell it to combine these files. Basically, I'm saying sandwich them together. So that is happening. So to combine them, it just wants to be sure that I know what I'm doing, or I'm sure of the instructions I'm giving it. So it wants to tell me that, oh, the first file, we can choose to preview it, which I'll preview, and then I'm like, okay, it looks good. I can choose to preview the second one, but they both look good, and I'm going to say, okay. So Power Query will attempt to sandwich them together, and we can have a quick look through and see if we want to clean it or not, and then go back to Excel. We'll add it to a data model, and we'll go back to Excel. It is also important to note what's going on here. So on the right, you'll see query settings, and you'll see apply steps. What that apply steps basically means, since I came into this Power Query editor, think of it as an audit trail where every step I've taken is being recorded. So if I need to undo or redo, very similar to how you're working in your Google Sheets, you can basically see a version history. So this is basically telling you the version history. Okay, so it has basically sandwiched those guys together, and so that I know it has sandwiched it. It's giving me the source name. So if I keep scrolling down, I'll see the one that has 2020. So because I really don't need that column, so I want to take it out. So I'm going to just right click here. 1 minute. I'm going to just right click and say remove. And if you notice that singular action, you will see that that step I took or that action I took, it recorded it in case I want to, undo or redo it. Now I look at the date. The data type is correct, so it's in date format. I look at transaction ID. It's in numbers, it's in number format, so it's correct. Product number, it's number. Account number, it's also number. Amount, it's identifying my amount as numbers. However, I want to switch that to currency because it's actually money. So I'm going to switch that to currency, and everything looks good. I'm not going to draw so much on Power Query. You can basically check the YouTube channel for previous tutorials on Power Query. Right, so I'm just going to load this guy to Excel and add to a data model. So I'll say close and load. However, because I just don't want to close and load, I want to load it to something. So I'm going to say close and load to. And it gives me this pretty four guys. So while I would say yes, load to a table because I want to see those two tables or those two transactions from 2019 and 2020 sandwiched together. I also want to check this box that says add this to the data model. So we've started trying to structure or organize ourselves. So I'll say okay, right, and so we'll attempt to do that. And while that is going on, if you have any question or concern, you can drop it in the chat room. I will look at it. Right, so look at what we have here. Excel has basically loaded it back for me into tables. If you're familiar with, again, the first thing I said that it would be very beneficial that you work with is to work in Excel tables. So by default, it gives me back my data set in tables, even though the original data set wasn't in tables. How you would know that is once you're here, the contextual tab, table design, excuse me, would come up and you know that you're working within tables. Right, so if we take a cursory look, we can see that our 2020 data is also here and our 2019 data is here. But that is not all. Remember that the other data set that will describe this data, that is our product table and our account table, they are somewhere else. They are not in the folder that we brought together in here. So we necessarily need to bring those tables to come and join this transaction table, and we necessarily need to establish relationships. That is, tell Excel that, oh, this is how the product number relates, the product number in this product table, this is how it relates to the product number in this transaction data table. So that is what we want to do right now so that we can make better sense of our data sets. And that is what data modeling is about. Right, so I'm going to now remember, we're already working in a data model. So I'm going to attempt, I'll manage my data model. So I'll come to data, the data tab. And ideally, I may want to import my data like this. However, I would be using another tool or another feature here called Power Pivot. Now, I do not know what I did to my Excel. It has disappeared, my Power Pivot, but not to fret. So I'll come to my file and options here, and I would reinstall the add-in. So I'll come to add-ins here. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so I'll come to add-ins here, and here in com add-ins, I'll go pull up my Power Pivot. Now, my Power Pivot is already checked. I really don't know why it's not giving it back to me, but I will. So I'm going to go to my quick access toolbar here. So I can pick more commands so I can find it somewhere that it might have been. So let me customize my ribbon and look for my add-ins. Just give me a minute. Let me find my power pivots that I can't seem to find right now. Okay. All right. Note my comments. Just give me a minute, please. I sincerely hope I don't have to restart my Excel. 1 minute. Okay, just give me a minute and let me quickly sort this out and find my power pivots back. Right. So. Okay. Right. We are. Can you still see my screen, guys? Can everybody still hear me? Oh.
Yes, guys.
Yes,
I can hear
Tayo.
you.
Well, can't
Okay.
see your
Thank
screen
you.
anymore.
Right. Thank you, Samson. Just give me a moment. Somebody's mic is on. Could you please look at that and mute your mic? That's Rafia Tanadinike. Could you please mute your mic? Okay, thank you. Still finding my power pivot. I'm trying to restart my Excel. Okay. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, so I closed what we were working on before, but I'm just going to quickly brush over it so that we can get. I didn't save it, so we can get back to where we were before. Please just give me a minute. One minute, please. Excuse me. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen again. We'll quickly go through the other. I still haven't found where that guy disappeared to, but let me know once you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen now? Can you all see my screen now?
No, ma.
No, no, we can't.
But I'm sharing. How about now?
Yes,
It's
ma.
up now.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I'm just going to quickly pull what we were working on together before I went off, before I went offline. So I'm just going to quickly put this transaction data together in Power Query, add a data model, and we're going to see transform. This is just 1 minute. Okay, so I'll append them, I'll combine them, and oh, my video is also off. Why? Okay. So I'm going to say, okay, we've gone through the right. So that has loaded. Then we also can anyone still hear me now?
Yes, ma.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even know my internet my internet had gone off. But can you can you still see my screen?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Which one should I believe? Yes or no?
You can't see
Can
your screen, but we can see your face.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Let me come. Let me come share my screen. All right. Is that a hand or? Okay. Is that a hand or a question? Okay, I'm saying no, but I don't know what answer that is to. Okay, can you see my screen now? How about now?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, now this is getting interesting. Let me stop
Now
Yes.
sharing.
we can see it. We can see it.
Oh, okay. Let me start again. How about now? Can you see it?
No.
No, this is frustrating. This is very frustrating. Um, how about now?
No.
Okay,
No.
me
No.
myself, I'm learning patience.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right, thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, so but were you able to? Did you hear me up to the point where I loaded this back to? Where I loaded this back to? What's it called now? Where I loaded this back to Excel? Did you? Did you see the demonstration up to that point? Is that a yes, please?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So my Power Query, but my Power Pivot is still not coming up. So I'm going to have two options here. Somebody is going to share their screen with me or share their screen, and we're going to walk through it together. So Jalil, can you share your screen? Are you joining on your laptop? Are you joining on your laptop? Is Jalil still in class? Yeah, I can hear you. That is very faint. Okay, I didn't hear you very well, Jalil. Adenika, are you joining on your laptop? Are you joining on your laptop? Okay. Should I say Adenike has left my class? All right, Jalil, are you joining on your laptop now? Struggling to hear you. Is any other person joining on their laptop? I just need you to please let me use your laptop right now so I can finish our creating our relationships. Adenike, I'm asking if you're joining on your laptop. I do not see the thumbs up. Are you joining on your laptop?
Tayo. Yes,
Yeah?
I'm joining with my laptop.
All right, share your laptop, share your screen. Share your screen, and I'm going to share the data with you on Microsoft 365. Is that okay?
All right, that's fine.
Right. Okay. Just give me a moment while I share the data set with while I share the data set with Adenike. This is like the second time in a row where my Power Pivot has done this. But before I joined this class, it was working fantastically well. And I don't want to shut down this system right now. But it's not about shutting down actually. Right. Adenike, I'm going to drop the link for you on Slack so you can have the data set, or I could drop it here, but I'm not entirely sure everybody would be able to access it. So,
Okay, you can drop it on Slack.
no problem. Right. So, oh, I'm sharing the entire, I've forgotten I'm sharing my entire screen. All right, I've shared it with you. Please just pick it on OneDrive, and let's quickly do this. Are you there?
Yes, I am. I want to get the link first. Then I'll share my screen again.
All right, cool. The link should have dropped for you. Let me also drop it for the class. Where's my? Let me also drop it for the class. So anybody who's in, oh, I'm just seeing Jalil's message where he said he's in transit. Okay, so Adenike, I've dropped it in class, and I've also dropped it in I've also dropped it on Slack. All right. With full hope that nobody is editing it just yet. Nobody should edit it just yet. Spending the time you're able to download it and work with it. I didn't hear you there.
Can you see my screen? Yes, I'm here.
Can I see your screen? Yeah, it's coming up. All right, thank you. All right, cool. So quickly download transaction data and append them in or combine them in Power Query. Yeah, you can download the entire file. Just download the entire folder, rather. Download the entire ShopRite folder.
Okay.
Well, you will still have to download those individual ones. Oh yeah, download the second one. I wanted you to download the entire ShopRite folder and extract. That would be easier, but either ways.
Okay.
All right. So
It's inside the transaction data is in here.
launch Excel and put your Power Query. Is there a way you can give me access to? Okay, if we're joining on Teams, I could have used your. So extract that. It's in a zip folder, so you won't be able to use it. So extract it into, go back. Oh, well, you can copy it out.
You want me to extract it, right?
Either ways, just get the data out. You could extract, you could copy. Because you won't be able to access the zip folder if you wanted to use Power Query with it.
Okay, then let me extract it then.
You can create a new folder, just put it on your desktop. Okay, so while you're at that, quickly open an Excel file and open a blank workbook and use Power Query. I sincerely apologize for the mishap. While Adenike is doing that, I'm going to join on my phone, attempt to also shut down my own laptop, and so Adenike,
Okay.
quickly append
Yeah.
those two files in Power Query, and also be in the background. You can be downloading the product and account file.
Okay.
Do you have that?
Yes, I'm doing that.
All right. Okay. All right. Do you have it now?
Yes. Let me
Okay.
get, I only have one of it here. Let me get the second one.
Where are you? You're already in Power Pivot. No, I'm saying put it in. No. I said append it in Power Query. That is, combine them in Power Query.
Okay, in Power Query.
Yes,
Okay.
boss. Yes, boss.
Okay, I thought Power Query. You were saying Power Query.
No, append them in Power Query. Thank you.
Get data. Okay.
So I carry them to from folder. So you take the entire folder, then do you understand?
Yes.
So then go to transform data. Go to transform data. And in your transform, when it finishes loading, click that to append or that to those on the first column where you can see, or the first column in the data, no, in the data, in the canvas. On the first column where you see content, yes, to your right, that arrow, 2 arrows, click it. Ah. No.
Sorry,
First
hold
column.
on.
Go back to the first column, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't say click it. Remove this.
What do you want me
Remove
to
the.
do?
I want you to append or to combine the folder, but you're not combining. So it means you were not seeing what I was seeing, what I was doing before now. You've not combined the data set, so it's not going to work. Start all over. There's nothing you will do there that will be fast. Start all over. And we need to be very fast. Now, in that first column that you're looking at, what is with the first column header? You see content, then you see an icon just beside content, right? That's the icon I want you to click. The icon to the right, yes. Just give me a moment.
Is
Give
that
me a moment.
responding?
You're supposed to respond. Just give me a moment. Has that responded?
No. Okay.
Yeah. So just click on sheet 1, click on the sheet 1 and say okay, just for you to quickly preview it. Then say okay, just say okay. All right. Now just give it some few seconds. Just to get us back to where we were before. That's why we're being fast. So remove that first column because it's redundant. Just right click on it and remove it. Remove is on the top. Right. Then go to the last column and change the data type to currency. The data type, just click on the data type here and change it to currency. Right. Now go to close and load tool. Close and load tool. Yes. Now check the box that has add this to the data model and say okay. All right, so this is where we were before my system decided to be wonderful. Right. So I'm just going to take. So Adenika, I'll be giving the instructions. You will be the teacher. All right. Is that your hand? Right. Don't worry, Adenika. I'll do your own parts. Just show us your screen. Right. So right now we want to access the other data types, or the other descriptive data, that is the product data or the product table and the account table. I didn't have you downloaded those? So download products and account. You can download transaction also. Just download everything. That's why I'm ready to download the entire folder before. All right, I believe it's been downloaded. Just allow. I believe those ones would have been downloaded. So please go back to your Excel. And right. So go back to your Excel. Okay. So now what you're going to do is, while you're within that data set, so this is where I left off, where Excel loaded it into tables, which means it's a more structured data. And if I don't know, you can put your mouse on the filter button, and we can see that both 2019 data and 2020 data are already combined together. So you can show us what's inside that column. I didn't care. Yes. So 2020 data and 2019 data is combined together. So what we're going to do now is to attempt to bring in the products table and the accounts table to come and meet this guy. So please click on your Power Pivot tab on the ribbon. Click on your Power Pivot tab. Right, this is the Power Pivot that was already missing and wasn't installing on my own program. My quick guess is because I'm on a beta program for Microsoft, so it allows my Excel to misbehave most times, especially when they are rolling out new updates, and I apologize for that. Today is the day I'll go off that beta program. Right, so in your Power Pivot, so we can see different commands here: manage, measures, KPIs, add to data model. But this time around, we want to go and manage. So please click on manage. Now, what happens, or what Microsoft Excel does, is it launches just very similar to the way you saw another editor or another window for your Power Query. It also launches a new editor for Power Pivot. That is basically, you necessarily need to create relationships between your tables. So now we want to bring those other individual tables, we want to bring it and add them to this data model. So what you're going to do is, still on your home tab, where you see get external data, please click on get external data. Now, from other sources. Because your data set is existing in different places, you need to pull them, and these are the other sources that are available to you. But in our case, those other sources are also Excel files. So please scroll down and select Excel file. Yes, then next. This time around, go find your products data. Browse. I think it should be in your downloads. So pick products and open. And check the box. Hold on. Go back. Check the box that says use first row as column headers. Basically, what that means is that don't worry, don't forget that you are the one teaching us, so you have to work at our pace. Right. So what basically that means is you're already building like a table very similar to the way transaction data table was built. So you can go to the next page and finish. Right, so it has basically transferred the product details that were in that sheet, and close. You can close that dialog. Right, so you can see automatically that you now have another sheet called product. So what has happened is I've gone to pick another data set that does not even exist in your transaction data set at all from another source. You've gone to add it to a data model, very similar to the individual parts in a mobile phone, where you are able to add those in or put those individual parts together. Now, Adenika, you're going to repeat the same process for account table. So, account table. Open first row as right. So finish and close. However, in this case, we can see that in the account table, it's showing as sheet 1 or something. So rename that sheet as account table. The sheet name, change it to account. Did you get that? All right, cool. Thank you. So what we now have is we have our 3 tables from 3 different sources. We now have them in a data model. Then we necessarily need to establish a relationship between them. But before we establish that relationship, so Adenike, you can switch to a diagram view. Before you would see diagram view under your view, yeah. Before we establish those relationships between these 3 tables, we're going to attempt to why is your sheet looking like that though? That's your account table, correct? Why are you deleting? I didn't get. I've not said you should do anything. Please just hold on. Thank you. All right. While we can see the 3 tables, we can see them at a glance. We can see date, transaction ID in our master sheet or in our transaction data table, and we can see the product and product number in our product table. In our account table, something is wrong with our account table, but please take it away from diagram view. Let's see. Take it just click on diagram view again. Or go to data view, just click on data view. Right. So put it on your account table. Your account table didn't seem to have scrolled down. Nothing seems to be inside this your account table. What happened? Go to your product, click on your products table. Click on what's inside sheet 1, please. Okay, that's the original data set. Nothing is inside your account table. Please go to get external or go to the data you downloaded and let's see what's inside your accounts table. The data you downloaded in your download files. Okay, so you have that. All right, go back to Power Pivot Editor. Go back to the Power Pivot Editor. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it again. All right, cool. So get external data from data external source. And let's import that again. We could have said we would preview, but it says all rows transferred. So let's see. Close. Right, it's looking good now. So please name it account. Just name an account, not account. Just name that sheet 11 account. I really don't know what could have happened. Maybe the file has not finished downloading the time you tried to connect to it. All right. So go to okay, what are you having to wait for? Say okay. Okay. Leave it as sheet 11. Not a problem if you cannot change the name right now. That is not very consequential. So you can put it in your diagram view so you see what you have. All right. Your sheet 11 or sheet 1 still appears to have not to worry just yet. Okay, so let's attempt without establishing a relationship between these guys. Let's attempt to insert or take it to a pivot table. So go back to your data model, minimize the Power Pivot window. No, minimize that. Thank you. Minimize. Now, this time around, go on your Insert tab. On this, your Excel sheet, go on your Insert tab and Pivot Table. You could actually do Pivot Table from the Power Pivot window also, but I wanted to show you something else. So click on Pivot Table. Now, in this Pivot Table, This time around, is asking you, wait, just wait. Yeah. So this time around, it's asking you where your table range is. You should naturally close that. Just say cancel. Cancel this. Cancel that dialog. So your pivot table is the drop down under pivot table. I need you to click the drop down. Yes. So basically, you want to. This is not the regular pivot table where you want to use a usual Excel table to do your report. You want to pick from a data model. So this time around, you're not picking from the default table or range. You're picking from, I didn't care. Wait with us. You're picking from data model. Did you get that? You're picking from data model. Right. Now put it in a new worksheet and say, okay. Because Excel has detected that there's a data model thingy going on, so it can easily pick everything that is in our Power Pivot window, and it can add it to a data model for us here. So if you notice the way the way on your pivot table fields on your right, the way the fields are arranged is a bit different from what you would have naturally seen in a regular pivot table report. So in your account table on your right, Adenike, can you please expand that? Please expand. So in your account table, you can see the individual column header in account table. Please just scroll down a bit. You can see the account number and the account. In your MC table, I want to believe that you named the bigger table MC, right? Oyetade, your video is on. If that is unintentional, you can take it off. Right. So basically, those are the different elements, or those are the different columns in each table. So in your transaction data table, which Adenike has named MC, Adenike, wait with us, please. Which Adenike has named MC in our case, it's basically showing each individual column headers that have item ID, product number, account number, amount, and every other thing that we had in that data set that has 2019 and 2020. And there should also be, you can collapse that, there should be a product table where it gives us the details of the product number and the product itself. Right, the product table where it gives us the product number and product itself. Now, Adenike, attempt to help us find the account and the amount posted into each account. That is, help us find the revenue in each of those accounts. So put in your account table, expand your account table and bring out your account and put it in rows. Please open account. No. In this pivot table. No. Mark. In this
Sorry, please, can you repeat yourself? Please, can you repeat yourself? I didn't get that.
In this pivot table fields, expand
Okay.
the table that has account. Now put the account in rows.
Okay.
Now, basically, remember that initially we didn't have access to make sense of those account numbers that were on the original transaction data. But now we have access to them. Now, just wait for a minute and let's quickly see how it is important to why it is important to create relationships or to work with data models. We haven't created a relationship yet, but I just want to show you the behavior. Now, go to your transaction data table. Go to your transaction data table, the one you named MC, I believe. The one that has that red in front, that has that database kind of, no, that one is your regular table. You should have another MC that has the Power Pivot touch inside it. Yes. Now put the amounts in values. So because we want to see the amount for each of these account numbers or each of these accounts. Now, if you notice, automatically Excel attempted to put the individual revenues that is due to electronics, your electronics journal, the individual revenue that is due to your office decor, the individual revenue that is due to your office furniture, and so on and so forth. However, it cannot, because we have not established a relationship between the three tables. That is, we've not told Excel to say that in this transaction data table, the thing called product number in this transaction data table is the same thing called product number in this product table, and so on and so forth. But because we've not done that, this guy is confused. So we're now going to establish that relationship now. So in that yellow error message that is popping up for you on your right, please click create. Create. Right? So what we want to do now is to then establish those relationships. So Excel is basically giving us two options. That is, give me the table name that I can see in the data model, and give me the keys, whether the foreign key or the primary key. Don't worry, I won't talk so much about the concept of keys right now. Now, select the drop down that has table and select your MC data or transaction data. I don't know what you named it. So the one that has data model, is that it? Table MC. All right. So go and pick your, if that's it, that's fine. Yeah, data model table MC. Yeah. So go to your column. So let's pick the column header. Now, inside your, remember, what we're trying to establish relationships with is, it has to do with the account, right? So you want to tell Excel that the account number that you're seeing in the transaction data table, so select account number, because the account number that is in the transaction data table is the same account number that is in the account table. So basically, account number is a common or a unique identifier between those two tables. That is, Adenike, please bring up your transaction data table and bring up your, the original table itself. No, I'm not saying open that one. No, open the sheet that has, yes. Okay, you don't have it open down, don't worry. Please close this dialog box. Just close it. It won't open for you that way. Just close it first, then open your MC sheet. Please open it. Now, and then go to the topmost column. Now, in this, you remember this is our transaction data table, and we have date, transaction ID, product number, account number, and amount. So the column that has account number here, basically it says 5,000, 6,000, and so on and so forth. It means in your account number table, I didn't open your account number table. In your account number table, which is a smaller table, that account number table, open your account number workbook rather. That account number workbook or that account number table has, it basically has the name. So it has defined for us what 5,000 is. 5,000 is stationery, 6,000 is electronics, 7,000 is office furniture, 8,000 is office decor. So which means in this small data set, in this account workbook, we have account number as a column, and it is also present in the transaction data table. Go back to transaction data table. So we will basically then tell Excel to look at those two tables and link both account numbers to them. So no, okay, cool. Go back to your pivot table, your pivot table sheet. It's the same worksheet it's the same workbook you're on. It's the next sheet. Is this sheet 2 or sheet 1? No. It's the same workbook, the next sheet, yes. So click create. So click create, and on create you have on the table. So let's do what we did initially. So pick the data model MC, and your foreign key will be account number. Then related table. Under related table, also select the related table. The related table is your data model table account, right? Yes. Or was it the one that has sheet 11? I can't remember what you named it. then it has automatically detected that the two things that is common to both tables is account number. So you can say okay. You can say okay. Right. Now, just give it a moment. Now you've established relationship between what you have in your account and what you have in your transaction table. Or these accounts that you picked, I don't care in which table is it. I think you have two duplicated tables. No, go to your right. To your
I
right.
think he's
Pivot
on
table.
the sheet.
Okay. No, just go to show me the fields again. The account you have inside rows is from the other table that you haven't linked. No, don't close it. Don't worry. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm asking?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Go to your throw out your accounts. Remove your account. Right. Now, this account that you put is inside this account table. However, the one you created relationship, I didn't care, wait with me. The one you created relationships with is not this account table. Do you understand now? No. Just go back to the pivot table. Click the pivot table. Just click the pivot table on your left. On your left. 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 Okay. Yeah. Right. So select the other table you linked was on sheet 11, wasn't account table. So find sheet 11 in this place. If sheet 11 is not there, then pick your account and go and link your account. So put account, yeah, don't worry, put that account there, then create a relationship. Then this time around, it will be account table, yeah, and say okay. Right. So what basically has happened is you have attempted to link your account table and your transaction data table together, and it has basically analyzed it for you. You can easily see at a glance what the sales of electronics is, what the sales of stationery is. Initially, you couldn't say it. So let's quickly do one last exercise. I promised us we're going to finish by 6:30, and this is 6:28. So I so much value our time. So you can create another pivot table. I didn't care. You can copy this and duplicate the same way we've always created pivot table. And let's do the same thing for products. So this time around, instead of you using accounts, just put products. So which means you pick products from products table. Where's your product table? You can collapse the things you're not using. You can collapse the tables you're not using, so it doesn't distract you. Scroll up.
Product table is not there. I don't think we added it.
You added it. It's in the data model.
But it's not here.
Okay. Expand your what's it called now? Go to manage under power pivot. That's products now. Sorry, when did you create these relationships?
It was automatic.
Okay, that automatic table. So your product table is in your data model. So okay, so another way we can establish that relationship is to drag your product number inside this diagram view and put it on product number in your transaction table. So you can, the usual way you're used to creating relationships, you remember, didn't you? Yeah, thank you. So that way you've created the relationship and you should be able to know from your Power Pivot, you can launch your pivot table from that Power Pivot window you were on before. Did you get that?
So what do you want me to do now?
The Power Pivot window you were on before.
Okay.
You can launch your pivot table. Window. I didn't say tab. The window you were on before. Yeah. So you can click on click on pivot table. Yeah. Okay, you can put it on new worksheet or an existing worksheet, either ways. Now, you've basically created a relationship between the product table and the transaction data table. So let's have it. So give us the sales of each product. Yeah, the sales of each product amount. Now, so that's the second way of establishing relationships. The second way that Adenike just did, where we were able to use in the diagram view in the Power Pivot window, where we're able to draw lines between the diagram view of the window, or within the diagram view in the Power Pivot window. That's like a second way, or in some other cases, for some other people, that's the first way of creating relationships between tables. What makes this interesting is that you can minimize that. What makes this interesting is that by the time you proceed to put a chart together, let's look at a data set that isn't so much. So Adenike, please please go back to the sheet that has the account, and let's just add the date variable to it. Let's add the date variable to it. I mean the pivot table that has accounts report. It's a sheet, it's sheet 2 or something. Yeah. So add a variable, the year, add the year to this particular report, and you know how to get year, right? So click on date and get the year out. So take out the pivot table that is overlapping with that sum of amount that is in C10 or the A10. Yeah, take out that pivot table. Right. So this time around, we only want the years anyways. So you can take out the quarters and every other thing, or the months that come with it. So let's put a column chart. Let's put a column chart to this. Let's insert a column chart. Then what we're going to do to help us see how what's it called? To help us see how intuitive this can become, or how efficient your work can become, we will add 2021 transaction data. You're going to add it to the folder that we already have in this data model, and we can see how it can be updated. But first, please insert a pivot chart. To insert a pivot chart, Adenike would go to Insert tab. If you're using an earlier version of Excel, hold on, Adenike. If you're using an earlier version of Excel, your pivot chart would be under your Pivot Analyze tab. However, we're using Microsoft 365, and that's why she would find her own pivot chart inside the Insert tab. So please select the pivot chart and just insert a chart, and let's see what you have. No, the way you presented your data is not so clean. So for your date, can you please put your dates in the column field on the right? So this time around, just take out date. I need the year, not the entire date itself. So take out date and put year. Do you understand?
Yes.
So drag your years to, so we're able to see it better.
Where should I drag it to?
Drag it to the columns. Right. So if you look closely, you can at a glance see the sales of electronics in 2019 versus the sales of electronics in 2020. This is more communicating to you. So the last bit we will treat, or that we'll quickly touch on, is, so Adenike, please go to your download folder where you have transaction data for 2021 and go and put it in this folder that has transaction data. So you can copy transaction, just right click and copy and put it in the folder. Open the folder, yeah. Open a folder that has transaction data that we linked to before.
Yeah, here is it.
Have you pasted it? Cool. So
Yes.
please go back to your Excel, go back to where we have that chart. Go back to where we have that chart and go and refresh, and let's see how that pans out. No, pivot table analyze. It's inside your pivot table analyze tab, and your refresh is under your data group. Yes, so click on refresh and click on refresh all. Right, cool. So if you notice, I don't know if you took a good observation, the 2021 data set that is now available to this analyst has automatically been updated. You didn't have to go through the rigor of go to Power Query, go and clean it, then bring it to data model. Automatically, Excel understands what you're trying to do, and every step, every connection, every action you've taken on your previous analysis gets updated here. It gets updated on your pivot table report. You can see that the year 2021 is now inside, the year 2020 is inside, and the year 2019 is also inside your report, and you're good to go. So this brings us to the demo session of this particular free master class. And again, thank you for staying. So I'd like to take questions before we take the. I didn't think you can still share your screen though. I'd like to take questions before we go. And by the way, Adenike has done a fantastic job. Adenike works with us here at Techlytics. She's our data analyst here. And she has done a fantastic job of taking my role to walk us through this. Thank you so much, Adenike. That was really, really helpful when my laptop decided to mess me up. Right. So are there any questions that you'd like to ask before we close up? Any questions, please?
I just want to ask that how do we get the recorded video? Because I came in a little bit late.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Oyetade. So if you registered for the class, you will get the video latest by tomorrow, midday tomorrow. Of course, typically you get it by 10 a.m. But latest by midday tomorrow, you'll get it in your email. So the video would also be hosted on YouTube at Techlytics Africa. Let me paste the YouTube link here so that you can easily once it's live, you can easily just go to YouTube and see a replay of it. Did I answer your question, Oyetade?
Very well, ma. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much too. So I've left the URL in the chat room. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll still see next week. You'll typically get an email so that we would announce the other concepts that we will be teaching next week on our data analytics class. We are 9 minutes past our time, and thank you so much for sticking through. And even though we had a mishap along the way, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much to Adenike. If there are any other questions, it's a good time to ask. But if there are none, thank you, and we'll be ready to close the class now. All right, Adenike, you can stop sharing your screen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You too. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I thank you, Tayo. Can you let me know?
Yeah, thank you, Jalil.